Hey, it's me again, Cave Cat, here with another great episode of Cave Cat's movie and TV reviews. For this one, it's time to take chances, make mistakes, and get messy. Why? Because today we're talking about the Magic School Bus. So yeah, this is actually the third time that I'm reviewing a PBS series for this review show. You might remember that I reviewed Adventures from the Book of Virtues for the first episode, then Kino's Storytime for the second episode. To start things off, The Magic School Bus was a series of books that were written by Joanna Cole, God rest her soul, and illustrated by Bruce Deegan back in the mid to late 1980s, and was about a teacher by the name of Miss Valerie Frizzle who owned a sentient magical bus that had the ability to transform into anything at the push of a button. And once that happens, she would take her class on various field trips in order to teach them about a good number of different scientific topics, such as the water cycle, the center of the Earth, the solar system, the human body, the ocean floor, dinosaurs, etc. I really like the books because I actually used to own a few of them as a kid, and I enjoyed them for the bright and colorful pictures and especially for the quirkiness of the stories. Not to mention that they actually taught me quite a few things about space, geology, the human body, and lots more. Then in 1994, Canadian animation studio Nelvana adapted the Magic School Bus into an animated series, in association with South Carolina ETV and Scholastic Productions, the latter company responsible for publishing the original books. The Magic School Bus first premiered on PBS in September 1994 and aired for 4 seasons until ending in December 1997. Much like the books that it was based on, the Magic School Bus followed the adventures of Miss Frizzle, her pet lizard Liz, and her 8 students at Walkerville Elementary School, as they go on various field trips to learn about different scientific topics thanks to her Magic School Bus. Some of the episodes of the series are direct adaptations of some of the original books, though they also have original stories teaching about other topics, ranging from animal habitats, the importance of rot, music and sound, chemistry, deserts, stars, friction, volcanoes, and many others. However, one difference that the show has from the original books is that in the original books there were actually 18 students in Miss Frizzle's class, but when the books were adapted for TV, the producers had to cut out quite a number of students and whittled the main students down to 8, because they felt that having all of the students from the original books would have bogged down the cast too much and that there would have been too many main characters to follow. So because of that, the main students that we ended up getting in this series were Arnold, Wanda, Tim, Phoebe, Carlos, Ralphie, Dorothy Ann, and Keisha, albeit Carlos and Keisha were not in the original books until the one about dinosaurs. Anyway, as for the characters, Miss Frizzle is the weird and wacky science teacher who's always cheerful and optimistic. A little bit like Mr. Bogus in some ways, but at least Miss Frizzle is more competent than Bogus, even in spite of the fact that she may come across as being flighty and a little bit strange. In fact, I would say that she's actually more like a cross between Mr. Bogus and Plato from Adventures in the Book of Virtues, being that while she may seem a bit wild and strange, she's also very intelligent and wise when teaching the students about various science facts. Next, Liz is Miss Frizzle's pet lizard who doesn't talk, but even in spite of this, she does have quite a lot of personality and capable of doing things that no other lizard can do, almost like Garfield in some ways, but a little bit different. And now we move on to the 8 main students of Miss Frizzle's class. We have Arnold, who's basically the nervous wreck of the group and has a huge dread for Miss Frizzle's field trips, to the point that his catchphrase is, "I knew I should have stayed home today." Despite this, he is capable of having a backbone when it comes to doing the right thing, and especially in defending Miss Frizzle, even in spite of his dislike for her field trips. Carlos is basically the class clown of the group, prone to cracking bad jokes and puns, much to the annoyance of the rest of the students. Wanda is the more tomboyish one of the group who has a tendency to make rather rash decisions due to rushing into the problem head first. But even in spite of this, she still has a good heart and can understand what's going on. Keisha is the more sassy and sarcastic one of the main students, as well as the more practical of the group when it comes to learning about the scientific topic at hand. Ralphie is the more athletic of the main group, and though sometimes he has trouble trying to distinguish what is fact and which is fiction. Dorothy Ann is the more intelligent and book-smart of the main students, able to point out scientific facts through her trusty bag of books. Although there was one episode where she lost her book bag and found herself having to make scientific observations without the use of her books. Tim is kind of the more laid-back one of the students, and like Clogged Dwayne from the Garbage Pail Kids cartoon, he doesn't really have that much of a personality. And lastly, Phoebe is the more gentle and naive of the main students, due to the fact that she's a transfer student from another school. At least until the Magic School Bus Rides Again established that she returned to her old school and she ended up getting replaced with another student named Giodi. And of course, there's also Janet, Arnold's cousin, who is basically a recurring character that shows up sporadically during the show. She's basically more standoffish and aggressive than Arnold is, as well as attending a different class at Walkerville Elementary, even though the original series book The Magic School Bus Lost in the Solar System explained that she went to a different school than the main students. Whenever she shows up, she always causes trouble for the students in Miss Frizzle's class, sometimes even bordering on outright malevolent, though at the end she always learns her lesson. And those were the characters of the show. So how is the show itself? I like it. For being an animated series produced by Nelvana, it's actually an entertaining and educational show that teaches kids about various scientific facts depending on the topic for each episode. In fact, from what I recall, one episode that took place at a bakery where they were teaching about chemistry actually taught me that when you mix vinegar and baking soda together, it creates a bubbling gas, which is actually quite useful. Also, the voice casting for the series was just amazing. I mean, yes, they got a bunch of Canadian child actors to voice the main students in Miss Frizzle's class, with the exception of Danny Tamborelli, who started voicing Arnold in the second season. But I gotta say, Lily Tomlin was awesome as Miss Frizzle. She really gives Miss Frizzle that wild and wacky yet intelligent and knowledgeable atmosphere about her, a little bit reminiscent of her performance as Edith Ann from the sketches on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. But aside from that, like Garfield and Friends, Adventures from the Book of Virtues, and even Kino's Storytime, the show also features quite a number of celebrity guest stars, such as Tim Daly, Dom DeLuise, Ed Asner, Ed Begley Jr., Carol Channing, and even country musicians Winona Judd and Dolly Parton. And another noteworthy thing to point out about the show is the theme song, like Ride on the Magic School Bus. Little Richard was the perfect choice to sing the theme song for the show, giving it that rollicking rock and roll feeling that lets you know that it's time to board the Magic School Bus and to learn about science with Miss Frizzle and her class. Because of how fun and educational the show is, I will give the Magic School Bus 8 stars. In case any of you are wondering, no, I have not seen the Magic School Bus Rides Again. Even though I've heard some things about it, I don't know if it's as good as the original series or not. Because sometimes when things get rebooted, they can either be really good or really bad to the point of tarnishing the legacy of the original, the Powerpuff Girls to name one of them. And also, I mentioned this before in my Garfield and Friends review, the Garfield show is another example of this, being that while it was an okay show, it wasn't as good as the original series was. But rose-colored glasses aside, I'm not going to try and judge the Magic School Bus Rides Again for what it is. It's as simple as that. So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Cave Cat's movie and TV reviews. Be sure to like and subscribe and stay tuned to my YouTube channel for whatever videos that I might come up with in the future. So until next time, later!